Hello, guys, and welcome back to Untier Talk. My throat's not too good, so I'm gonna kind of keep it a little low key on the intro. Probably hear me drink in the background a little while. Hajad, you feeling all right?
It depends what you mean by all right.
Are you
Yeah.
feeling salty about exhibition?
Uh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess that
I'm
has to.
salt. I'm not ashamed to admit I'm salty about exhibition. We got fucking haxed. We should have at least drawn last week. We're already just real shit RNG put us down 0-2 in the first day of week 2. Like I'd be salty. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's not that important. Our saltiness is not super PU relevant. What is PU relevant is the games that happen in exhibition. We're just gonna run through those real quick before getting on to the meat and potatoes of suspects and quick bans and all that. Um, I think most of the games were pretty shit. That's okay. I think most of the games in all four tiers just ended up not being very good. There were no super high, there were like a few super highlight matches, but nothing really came out of them. I can do like a quick summary of all of them in 2 minutes. I said, okay, so Ryza versus Lax. Ryza should have had a good stall matchup, but wasn't using HP Grass Minior for like no reason based on his team composition, and just wasn't able to break stall, so stall just won. Eva Guerrero versus Passion. Evie brings like a super weird team specifically because they tried to over prep for Minior because Minior just fucked with all the games. Passion didn't actually bring Minior, and Eva Guerrero couldn't really win too much. Like Aguilola was a big threat, but Passion never had to get him on Chen Weekend. Kush versus Sam I Am. They both bring Minior hyper offense because Minior really fucked with the weak. Kush has a better matchup and at multiple points, like almost should have just won, but he got really haxed, so Sam won. Katut versus Lycans. Lycans is pretty weak to Quiver Dance Lilligant. He tries to beat it with Toxic Clefairy. Turns out it was Z Heal Bell, and Katut kind of just ends up 6-0ing because surprise Z Heal Bell when you weren't expecting it. Osh versus Yuri. Yuri just chokes. Really, I'm sorry, Osh just chokes. Osh would have won the game, and then they just somehow didn't. TJ versus Tasker. Tasker just couldn't really break TJ's team. They both brought Minior, and they were both focusing around Minior, but because Tasker's Minior didn't win, he couldn't win. Tony versus Brexus. Tony didn't really have a hail matchup. Brexus ended up winning. He also didn't really have a great way to break one because Kangaskhan got too chipped and it wasn't Healing Wish Mesprit. And then LST versus Robert Alphonse. Definitely the best game in my opinion because Robert Alphonse just brought completely whack, crazy screens hyper offense, and it looked like LST was going to win. And then Robert Alphonse bust out a crazy agility weakness policy Hitmonchan surprise like epic sweep wins. It was pretty cool. I ain't even mad that we lost that one because LST is on my team, and that's literally it. Like this was the only game that I found all that interesting because of that. The rest were like weird hard matchups because people were trying to way over prep for Minior or just like dumb chokes or dumb hacks. And yeah, I don't think any other games were that great in any other tiers. I mean, Holy Ghost versus Gary was pretty nice until he lost on the last turn Precipice Blade miss, but other than that, like the game was nice. So yeah, that's about it. That's my quick 2-minute summary of every exhibition game. There, now you don't have to watch them.
Yeah.
Save yourself the time. It is really disappointing. But Minior was stupid, so we quick banned it. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So yeah, I guess moving swiftly on, we quick ban Minion. Quick ban Minion. Yeah. I think the general consensus among the council was like, it was a bit too much to prepare for. Like it was a bit too much to ask for in terms of preparation. I don't know how you felt when you were building around or in the Minion meta, but when I was trying to fit offensive cores, let's say in a standard way around a balance core, it always had to end up revolving like, okay, I have Quagsire, and now I have Pom Pom, and now I hope Minior isn't Power Gem HP Grass, because that's the thing that beats this. I feel like it's constantly.
You could try to prep for Minior defensively, but it'd be a complete coin flip based on the set. Plus, you'd have to keep your checks at like pretty high health and not use them for anything else. And you could try to prep for it offensively, but that requires so much stacking of these offensive mons and like getting around screens and stuff that it's just too much on an already like tested meta that just has so much to deal with. No.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that we already know that this meta is really like stacked with offensive threats, and our defensive cores are really like pressured as it is. So adding like fuel to the fire, so to speak, in Minior would just be, as you saw in week 1, it was just chaos basically.
Yeah, I'm much more looking forward to week 2, and we definitely have more matchups that I would consider like pretty interesting highlights. So hopefully we get some better stuff, because at least like the mon that we're suspecting now has been in the tier for a while, and even if we ban it, it's not like super crazy broken or anything, so I don't think it's a huge deal. So I'm much more interested to see like we got Lycans versus LST, or Katut versus Tasker, and all they have to worry about is Agialola, because we're doing a suspect and my throat hurts. You take over.
So yeah, on top of the quick banning of Minior, we swiftly decided to swoop in on the Agialola hype train and decided to suspect it. The main consensus behind it is that even if it's not broken, in quotation marks, you can still, it's still a huge strain on team building, and it would be interesting to suspect it just to gauge the opinion on how does everybody feel about preparing for Agialola and then playing against it as well, because prepping for it and playing is a completely different animal. So when you play the Agialola, there's always the 50-50, the coin flip between the Trick Room set and the
spec set. It's pretty dangerous, and I think people really know like why it's good. The suspect reasoning, if you want to check that out, I don't know how much we need to go over it. Eggy's been in the tier for a while. We talked about it rising to S rank. You know why it's good. To me, I think the key thing is I dislike needing to face Alolan Executor, but I have done so for a while. I have done so in previous metas. I've done so before Agialola was even put up for suspect. It's just a mon I don't enjoy facing or needing to prep for, because it's significant and it's annoying. And personally, I don't know if what I'm gonna vote, because I have to draw the line between like how much do I hate facing this, between like it actually being a problem for the tier. And I hope that people make that distinction between I don't enjoy fighting Alolan Executor and there is something wrong with needing to fight Alolan Executor.
Yeah, if for my personal opinion, what I'm thinking is I'm sort of 60-40 ban on the ban side, just because it's a bit stupid when you have Agialola and you're playing offense. It's so hard to outplay it. It's so hard for it not to come in Trick Room and claim 3 or 4 Pokemon. And when it does Trick Room, it often comes down to, okay, I'm going to pivot now around your Trick Room turns. Okay, so please do not click the correct moves as I pivot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you click the correct moves, you win. If you don't click the correct moves, you minimize the damage. So
yeah, and it's weird because like there's always a little bit about playing Eggy. You get like, honestly, Eggy either like cleans a pretty weakened team, or it doesn't sweep as much as just get like 3 kills and then die. It doesn't. It'll get 2 to 3 kills, but it won't actually really sweep teams unless they're like super weakened and can't do pivoting at all, or like if it's really late game. But I don't know how broken that is. So
yeah, here's the thing: like with Trick Room, is that it has a one-time Specs Draco.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine it's a one-time Specs Draco. If you can sort of envisage that with the Dragonian Z Dracometeor, it's basically equivalent to a Specs Draco Meteor. So it has like it's not even weak.
You
It's
should
not
probably
like
back off your mic a little bit, because
it's not like a Scarf Token in Mario or something where
Yeah.
it's like I'm clicking Iron Head now because I've killed your steel resist, right? It's like, okay, I have a Spectre and Executor for one turn, and it's going to outspeed absolutely everything possible. So it's tough in that respect, and I think it showed for the first week in Exhibition. I was seeing a lot more level 98 Alone and Executor than what was usually level 98, level 99 Alone and
well, yeah,
Executor.
that like just started becoming a thing that people like. Yeah, I could probably start running this. Personally, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think that's as much of a huge issue as people are making out to be. Once we see level 99 like specs Executor with that kind of lore aspect, then we're in trouble. But
yeah, me and Tasker were joking about this I think a couple weeks ago in Discord. I was saying, yeah, but as soon as you start using level 90 Alone Executor, you give away the fact that you're
just
triggering
back off
immediately.
your mic, because it's like causing cutouts and stuff. You're missing half the sentence.
Am I back?
Yeah, it's just, I think if you just don't talk quite so like close into it, then you should be good. Hello? Did you just disconnect your mic and try to fix it? I don't think that's the issue. It's not the mic. It's just.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah, no, I'll just stop talking for a little bit.
Oh, well, yeah, we're really good at keeping the flow of the podcast, by the way. You know, all that momentum, still going right through. I mean, yeah, Alone Necc is just. No, you can finish your point.
So yeah, we were talking, and then it was like, well, then I was talking like, well, if you're level 99, I know you'll trigger him immediately. Like, I don't need to know, or I don't need to scout for the fact that you might be specs. And then Tasker said, but what if you're level 99
Yeah,
specs?
I think level 99 specs is going to be the wave, but.
Yeah, I think that's the stupid part about it, though. I think the reason why it's I'm leaning towards Bandit is just that stupid mind game aspect, and also the 50-50s when it has Trick Room turns up. It's just a bit icky. It doesn't feel fair in the way that, let's say you have a all-out specs mod. Let's say you have like a Jellicent, right? And you don't have a Jellicent check. You deserve to get punished for not having a water resist, for example, or a good enough water resist, or not even like pursuit support to like revenge killer.
Right.
But with Egg, if you have a proper grass resist, well, there's no grass resist within the realms of the meta, let's say, that can take on a Specs Draco Meteor and also fit on offense. That's something that just doesn't exist flat out. Like, I think the closest thing you get is Sylvali Fairy.
Yeah, Eggy A does not really fit into conventional grass resists. Like the mons that resist it resist completely different things than other grasses. So you're like, I can work on an Eggy resist, but it's not really anything like my Lilligant resist or my Ludicolo resist or my Lurantis resist. It's really a problem across multiple grasses, because all those grasses too are like super weird to check, and you can't like traditional grass checks aren't really a thing because of how differently like those 4 big grass types get checked without even going to like Blossom, Jump Bluff, whatever. And then the other thing is, offense really needs to be more like Eggy can't set up, rather than I can actually counter Eggy. I think the biggest proponent of that is Katut. You see in most of his team, not all of them, but in a lot of his teams, it's more like, I'm going to stop Eggy from setting up, and if it does, it's only going to get like a couple kills and not sweep, as opposed to running hard counters. I think he's the best example if you want to look at like. But I also do it on a good amount of offenses too, where it's just I keep up enough offensive pressure and whatever that's not going to be too bad. Maybe we're also running Protect Mons or Fake Out Kanga or Sash Kadabra or whatever. But yeah, overall, like it's a little dumb. And as long as I'm sure that it's not just me hating the need to prep for a weird, self Trick Room nuke mon, then I'm comfortable with getting rid of it. And Z moves are also just so huge in why this mon is dumb. As with so many other bans we've had, Z moves just Dragonium Z is so crazy good for it. It's nuts because you can't have like it forces mons to be so much healthier. It creates even more dumb mind games around playing against playing around Trick Room. It just causes a lot more 50-50s and questions to pop up. Like it's really really annoying. And I think if it could only run Life Orb or whatever, I don't think it'd be nearly as threatening.
I think it would be threatening. I don't think it would be probably S rank threatening. I think it would
Right.
probably
Yeah, it'd still be a
require
threat. It'd be a threat.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be this level of threat.
Yeah, I mean, it would. Honestly, I think even with like a Life Orb set, like let's just completely ignore the Z move aspect. If we just focus on like the pure Pokemon aspect, I think it would probably require a bit more of an easier meta for it to really thrive.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it would matter that much.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we've banned another Trick Room setting sweeper recently, that being Aromatisse. And Aromatisse, the big difference to make that clearly instantly broken as opposed to Eggy is that you could not counter Aromatisse with its nasty plot set and whatever. And while you had maybe almost more offensive checks, I want to say, it felt like you had less like direct counterplay, if that makes sense. It's hard to word, especially since like the meta has changed so much since Aromatisse. People forget like back then, Alolan Sandslash was not used nearly as much as it is. Like our primary still was Aggron or whatever. Eggy doesn't have that like being able to set up factor. It's not able to set up. It's not necessarily able to avoid offensive pressure the same way Aromatisse is with the less weaknesses and the immunity to taunt and whatever. Yeah. But it's still incredibly strong, fairly consistent at setting up, and almost never is Eggy going to be straight up useless. Even in matches where you're facing its best counters, both the specs and the Trick Room set can be enormously useful, which is hugely different than pretty much any Pokemon in the meta, and it makes Eggy much more likely to be run on teams and just factors into the whole, well, now we have to start extra prepping for it and creeping down to level 99, 98, 97, and it's a little bit of a mess. It's a little bit of a mess.
I think it was Tack in the room. He said he was using level 94 to outslow Trick Room AV Crab or Trick Room Crab Abominable.
That'd probably be fine if anyone ran AV Crab anymore. It's not that bad of a mon. Yeah. Like people could totally be running AV Crab, but they're not. And until they are, I don't think that's really necessary.
No, I mean, sorry, I meant offensive crab and Trick Room. Max min speed. Sorry.
Who runs min speed offensive non AV Crab? What? Hello.
Trick Room teams, fully Trick Room dependent teams.
Who's running Trick Room teams?
Well, that's maybe one of the issues that I had with that thing.
Sorry, there's something going by. I don't know if you can hear it, but
I cannot hear it.
All right, well, good. Yeah, I don't think that's really relevant. Like, Eggy's matchup versus full Trick Room teams has nothing to do with whether we're gonna ban it, but. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable enough talk on Eggy and whatever.
I just wanted to add one small thing. You know how you were saying Aromatisse didn't really have a counter? I was just looking into it, and I was theory modeling the idea of Nasty Plot Alolan Executor with Trick Room, and +2 Devastating Drake, Oko's Alolan Sandslash, so you don't even need to run Flamethrower.
Yeah, but it doesn't get Nasty Plot, so...
Yep. Yeah, so that's like one of the reasons why Aromatisse was like ridiculous. Is the fact that you could just Nasty Plot and it didn't matter. Like you could just Oko basically everything. Like it's hard counter.
Okay, Jed.
Sorry, I'm just... Okay, maybe maybe it's a bit too late, huh?
No, it's not too late. We got one more thing. We got the return of the much-awaited segment, along with we got our little return to form this episode with bad mics and drinking too much in the background and faffing about and all that. But we got the other thing I know everyone's been dying for: Jad's Gimmick Corner.
So featured in this week is Nasty Plot Alone and Executor.
Okay. I know. I didn't warn you. I didn't warn you that we would bring it back. I just remembered that we were going to do it. I also can totally bring something up if you don't want to. But
well, yeah. I'm just having a look through my builder right now because I usually have a few ideas, which is lurking.
I guess technically it's not the full comeback because we did have Z Rain Dance Swana last time, so that was something.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't your gimmick, but it's a notable gimmick that is still pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no, I have a game.
Nope, you just cut out. I told you gotta back off that mic. We do it every time. If I edited this podcast, Jad would sound so much better. You guys have no idea. No idea.
Okay, I have one.
You just cut out again. So I hope you have it, and I hope you can get it out. Just back off the mic. That's all.
Okay. So I have the dominant grass type in It's
nope,
not alone executor like everybody claims.
You keep cutting out. Okay, the dominant grass type in Trick Room, and that is
some Flora.
Okay.
So basically, the set I've been using is it's basically just the Pokemon design for Trick Room. Like, it's so perfect for Trick Room.
Well, let's not go crazy here or anything. Yeah, it has over 100 special attack and 30 speed. That doesn't make it perfect for Trick Room.
It does, because if you pair it with the sun, right? You pair it with the power of the sun. You have solar power. It also gets access to a very powerful beat your ass moves like Solar Beam, Earth Power. I believe it gets Weather Ball as well. Don't quote me on that. No, it does get. No, that's Morning Sun. That's not Weather Ball.
Let me see.
It does not get Weather Ball.
No, it does not get Weather Ball. Sunny Room isn't really a new thing, and it's always like we've always known it's bad. So what's the? Is it just Sunny Room, or is there something we're missing here? Or?
It's Sunny Room with some Flora, and it's better than Alolan Executor. So use that. Don't use Alolan Executor. It's a bad one, I swear.
Okay. I guess I won't use Alolan Executor. Instead, I'll use Sunflora because, well, Sunny Room is bad, and that qualifies it for this list. That's been Hijad's Gimmick Corner.
Yep.
That was really just it. Just try Sunny Room, people.
I do have. I actually have to use a legit. Okay, let's say a legit thing. I guess could we say Scarf Stand / Alola?
Oh yeah, I guess we can talk about that. That was okay. I was never as crazy on it as you were, but it's fine. I think it's a legitimately usable set, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So we came up with the idea of Scarf Stand / Alola as like a fuck you to Hail, I guess, the Hail matchups.
Not just Hail, but yeah.
Yeah. It has some nice redeeming qualities as well. So, for example, it's still a decent ice resist, so you can still resist Auroras, and also it's a Scarfer, so it provides you with somewhat speed control. So,
well, it's less of a Scarfer, more of like a fast utility mon, because like it's outspeeding the Persians and whatever. But I wouldn't necessarily call it a. Like, it doesn't function as revenge. It doesn't revenge kill any boosted things. It's just like you're outspeeding all the entire relevant unboosted meta, and you get your fast spins, but also you get to throw out decently strong icicle crashes and check Kangaskhan's and Stoutlands, and it's not too weak. But Scarfer, I don't necessarily love calling it a Scarfer in the same way I don't love calling like Scarf Auroras is not really a Scarfer because. It's just a wall breaker that runs Scarf. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was thinking it fits best on the like Kangaskhan style of teams, Kangaspike style of teams, because on those style of teams, you usually don't need too much speed control or natural speed control per se, because you already have Kangaskhan to come and range kill stuff. So
Yeah. Plus, you want spin.
Alone and Sand Slash. Yeah. And the Alone and Sand Slash gives you spin, it gives you the Aurora's resist, it gives you that Scarf utility, extra speed, I guess you can say. And it's also like, it's just generally, I think its dual stab is much more threatening than people give it credit for, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people give it credit because nobody's thinking about this. I've never seen anyone else considering this set. But I think it's totally fine. It was on the team that I brought versus Katut in circuit finals. Unfortunately, it was on the team versus Sun, where it's obviously not going to be a super useful Mon. But I do think that there's merit to something as silly sounding as Scarf Alone Sand Slash. Definitely, like, I definitely rated above Scarf Aggron. Maybe like around your Scarf Rampardos level sets, which is not bad. Scarf Ramp's really not bad. Is Ramp ranked?
I would hope so. I innovated Assault Vest. Assault Vest rank. It should be.
Yeah, okay, it's D.
Assault Vest rank.
It's D. It's D. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, Scarf Alone Sand Slash I think is genuinely okay. You know, just like Jolly, spin, crash, EQ, knock, or head, or whatever. That's all there is to it. And yeah, that's been a solid. That's been a solid 25 minutes, and my throat not feeling too good. So thank you all for listening to another rendition of Untier Talk. Next week, I'm hoping the PU matches are better, so we can go over some exhibition games, maybe. Go qualify for the Eggy Suspect. It's not hard, and the more people that qualify, the better. That's just a fact. You can do it. I believe in you, and you gotta believe in yourself, too. See you next week.